Hey, how is it going, everyone? I am here. It's been a rough week or two. It's been balls hot and humidity up the ass sucked. I was in the hospital for 2 days for reasons, and I won't get into that, but I'm alive and well and everything is still attached, so thank God for that. Or whatever, God. Thank Kentro for that. And I'm here to do this review that I have been trying to do for a while, because I finished this series probably more than 2 months ago, something like that. It's been a while since I finished Hajime no Ippo, The Fighting, or Fighting Spirit as it's been called in America. This is a great fucking series, and it's kind of funny, because if you look at it just from the Japanese and how they take things such as sports, off the top of my head, there's a series based on tennis, football, basketball, pretty much all the sports you can name, initial D, racing, things you normally wouldn't find appealing, or, because I'm not a big boxing fan, I'm not a big, a huge football fan like that, as to where I would watch a series based on it, but holy shit, Hajime no Ippo and pretty much every single, Slam Dunk, Prince of Tennis, like I said, all of these series are fucking manly. Let's talk about Hajime no Ippo though, because this is one of the, I think the elite top tier sports, shonen sort of series that you could watch. Just a simple premise, because plot, honestly, is not the most important thing. Of course you want to pay attention to it, but the main character is Makunoichi Ippo, and he's like a high school age kid, pushover at first, your typical sort of story for how these things usually start off. He gets beat up, doesn't have a backbone, is afraid to stick up for himself, afraid to stick up for anyone, and he's getting beat up by these bullies one day when some guy comes, Takamura, and he just kicks the absolute shit out of the bullies. And Makunoichi is just so impressed, and he finds out Takamura is a boxer. So he asks Takamura to apprentice with him and that sort of stuff and teach him how to box. And long story short, Makunoichi ends up joining the Kamogawa gym. And the story just takes off from there. There's 2 different series. There's Hajime no Ippo, The Fighting, which is 76 episodes long, and that covers up to a certain point when, he has... The thing about these series is that they're kind of rather predictable in terms of story. You know he's gonna win, 95% of the time, and they always have to have that 1 or 2 devastating losses where they need to, go back to their roots and focus, and they'll come back stronger than ever, and then they'll have that one fight, and they'll just kick the crap out of that guy, the recover fight, or whatever you want to call it, the rebound fight. So, very predictable in terms of plot. And then there's New Challengers, Hajime no Ippo, New Challengers, 26 episodes long. That came out a little bit more recently than The Fighting, of course, first season, second season. They are apparently working on a 3rd season, or, they're doing some sort of thing, and there's 2 OVAs, I have not checked those out, and I think they're also working on another movie, too. But this series is just... The reason you watch it, the plot is good, you care about the characters, you find out because in Kamigawa Gym, there's different guys with like Aoki, Kimura, you'll find out about them, you'll hear about Takamura and how he's trying to go for the world title, and his quest to the world title, and that sort of stuff. So it's a series that, even the opponents that Makunoichi fights, which are all the characters, or even you would think the opponents would be dirtbags, scumbags, but they're all interesting and they all have a well-developed... It's a series really focused on character development, and it's centered around character development, not just from, that's something Naruto lacks, is character development. These characters don't really develop as humanly as I think, if that situation for some reason happened in real life. The characters were not developed like that, but in Hajime no Ippo, these characters develop and they feel real, and they feel, you care about them. You want to see Makunoichi kick some ass. You want to see Kimura kick some ass. And Makunoichi has a rival, who is actually probably my favorite character in the whole series, is Miyata. And they're pretty much, you know, Makunouchi has the sort of like duck and weave sort of style where he goes in, goes out. It's an actual show that's based on real boxing too. It's not like they just, oh, you know, let me make a show about boxing and they had no idea about boxing. It's based on real fighting styles, real moves, you know, Mike Tyson, that sort of stuff like that. Actually, they reference it, so their research was well done. Would you expect that from Japanese? You don't really expect that from Americans. If Americans made something like this, it'd be half-assed. They don't really know anything about boxing. But they actually know their boxing history, and there's parts where they'll kind of explain where this move came from or where this fighting style came from. And I think that's really cool, and it adds some sort of authenticity, I guess, quote-unquote, if you want to call it, to the story. And Miyata-kun is more of a like finesse sort of like, he always wants to go for the counter, so he's always waiting for that moment, and he's quick on his feet. He's just not a strong guy, and Makunouchi is just a brawler and a bruiser who hits, if he hits you, he hits hard. So they're kind of very opposite in terms of fighting styles and just personality in general, because Makunouchi is more laid back and kind of doesn't want to be too much in the spotlight, while Miyata-kun is more, I wouldn't say wants to be in the spotlight, but he has fans, people have high expectations of him. So it's cool to see how their sort of quote-unquote friendship slash rivalry sort of plays out, and he's just, I think he's such a cool character. And another character that I really like is the announcer guy, because he is, whoever that guy is, I want him to be the announcer for every single sports event, any sort of event in the history of the world that you could ever possibly go to. Because when you are watching these matches, it just makes it so much more epic, because all of these moves, the thing about it is, you know, although they do use real boxing moves, this is not real boxing, people. This, you know, the Japanese, they like to take it one step further, or 3 or 4 steps further. So all the blows are like these huge, like they'll send like shock waves, or like wind will come out, or it'll be like super fast punches and stuff like that. Like it's very high adrenaline, full throttle sort of a show, which in my opinion is great. But the announcer is like, he'll be screaming because they all have different moves, and he'll be like, Makunouchi Ippo, Gazelle punch, and then there's another guy, I forget, Mashiba, he has the Flicka, and it's just like, he'll be screaming the whole time, and you're like watching the TV like, oh my god, this is the most intense thing I've ever seen. It's a great show. The manga is fantastic. You really can't go wrong. I like the theme song. They have a few different theme songs, and I like them all, especially for first season. I think like the first 25 or 30 episodes. The one song that's like, roll and go. If you've watched the show, you know what I'm talking about. It's really the definition of an underrated anime, and that's why, you know, it'll be put up as an underrated anime. You know, I mean, technically it's a review. What the hell's the difference between underrated anime and the review? Not much, but it's really underrated, I think, because a lot of people don't talk about it, and it's a series that is still ongoing. It's not like, because, you know, there's different plateaus that Makunouchi, he wants to become the rookie champion, then he wants to become the lightweight champion and stuff like that. So there's different levels of where he wants to reach, and you can obviously see where each season will end is when he reaches a new plateau in terms of his strength, or whatever you want to say. But you have to watch this if you have not seen this. It's a series that on paper, you would think, you know, maybe it'll be okay, but when you actually watch it, that's where it succeeds, because it succeeds in just grabbing you by the balls and being like, alright, you're a fucking man now, watch this show, because this is, you know, this is top quality anime at its finest. But anyways, guys, I mean, there's a few video games out there, but I say read the manga and watch the anime. Unfortunately, see, the problem with a lot of these animes that I tend to recommend is that a lot of them aren't available in America. Like, there wasn't a mass production of, you know, you can get season 1 of Hajime no Ippo or anything like that. You have to buy like a disc and it'll have 5 episodes. So, and I don't even, the New Challengers isn't even out in America. But watch it in Japanese, by the way, because it is a very, in terms of like the culture of Japan, it's very Japanese oriented. Don't watch it in English. The first season, I believe, is in English, but don't even bother. Watch it in Japanese. It's set in Japan. They speak in Japanese, and the way that they carry themselves is very similar to how a person in Japanese culture would carry themselves. So just watch it in Japanese. Awesome show. Awesome, awesome, fucking manly. Like, you guys just, you're doing yourself a disservice if you have not seen Hajime no Ippo. But anyways, that's my underrated anime review sort of thing. Got another one of these coming up soon, working on a top 10 or coming up with the list for a top 10. And that will have a special guest, although he really isn't so special because no one cares about him. But whatever, he's a good friend of mine and we'll have fun with it. So I will see you guys soon. Take it easy.